Welcome to today's episode of the J&J Podcast. I'm Jamie.
This is Jameson.
We want to welcome all of our listeners in. The NBA season is getting close to an end, and we're going to talk a little bit about that today. But before we jump into the NBA Finals, some major news happened today.
Yeah, talk about coming to an end.
Exactly. Jameson and I think we alluded to this on...
We've done it multiple episodes. We even talked about it last episode.
Exactly. And it actually happened. Tom Thibodeau today was fired. So, Jameson, let's talk a few minutes about that and who we think might be the next head coach for the Knicks.
Well, first off, what I'm gonna say is I felt bad for Tom Thibodeau, but like we've discussed the last couple weeks and honestly months, I'm not really shocked that he ended up getting fired. It's like it's kind of similar, and honestly, Dwayne Casey's was less justified. But this is not the first time we've seen a coach take a team far in the playoffs and then get fired. It's like Dwayne Casey took the Raptors literally to the finals almost and then got fired. You know what I'm saying? So it's like we've seen stuff like this before. Like Adrian Griffin literally had the Bucks as like the first or second best team in the East and then lost his job. He was literally going to be the Eastern Conference All-Star head coach and lost his job. So, I'm not really shocked. And part of Tom Thibodeau's thing is, I'll be honest, for the Knicks, they kind of exceeded expectations because even heading into the playoffs, I honestly thought the Knicks were a team that could have lost in the first round to the Pistons, and it showed. I think that if the Pistons had one more reliable scoring piece, they could have actually taken down the Knicks, if you ask me. But I think part of why they went ahead and made this decision was because these next 2 to 3 years are crucial for the Knicks. It's like you have Karl-Anthony Towns, Brunson, Mikal Bridges, and OG all under contract, and it's like you really have a 2-year window to win. If it's like outside of that, they're not going to be able to pay all 4 of those superstars and then stay under the aprons that they're supposed to stay under now with the new collective bargaining agreement. So I think that's one of the reasons why it's like they're kind of in win now mode, and it's like it's clear, it's pretty obvious that Tom Thibodeau's not really going to be the answer. But here's what I'm also going to say that I feel like played a big role in this. And Tom Thibodeau has had a honestly sad reputation of doing this in the past. He's played dudes until the brink of death almost, it feels like. It's like, no, just being completely honest, it's like, there is no reason why, I get it. Jalen Brunson is a superstar, is win or go home. But Jalen Brunson and Karl-Anthony Towns and OG and Mikal Bridges should not be playing 42, 44, 46 minutes a game. That's just not sustainable, bruh. Like, prime example is it's like, you see how much the Nuggets had to rely on Jokic. They still let the brother get a rest every now and then. Same with Shea. And here's my thing too. It's just like I get it. People on the flip side are gonna say, well, what options did the Knicks have off the bench? And I actually have a rebuttal for that. You had Cam Payne. Cam Payne is not a superstar role player, but Cam Payne has shown flashes of being able to come in and give you some solid minutes. I'm not saying he needs to play 25 minutes a ball game. He's not Peyton Pritchard or T.J. McConnell. But at the same token, it's like you telling me you can't stagger 12 to 13 minutes for Cam Payne or Precious Achiuwa. It's like Precious Achiuwa didn't even get no tick throughout the full duration of the entire playoffs. It's like, bruh, that's a young person. That's a young player you could have, let Cat rest for a couple of minutes, stagger his minutes some. Even somebody dad, I love Miles McBride. He's tough. He was probably the one player that Tom Thibodeau actually gave some decent tick off the bench. And then last, Dad, I always love P.J. Tucker. It's like, you telling me you couldn't stagger P.J. Tucker into some of these games for 9 to 10 minutes? He's literally just a catch-and-shoot defensive type of guy. It's like, honestly, that combined with the Knicks being in win-now mode is really the 2 biggest reasons why I feel like Tom Thibodeau lost his job. But I will say this to answer that next question. I'll go and pass it over to you. I think a strong candidate, immediate might be Michael Malone. I know he just got fired by the Nuggets, but I feel like he'll be a great fit for the Knicks. But your thoughts? I know I said a lot.
No. You covered everything. And is it Thibodeau or Thibodeau? Because I've heard it pronounced both ways.
I always say Tom Thibodeau, but I've also heard like the H is silent.
I've heard it. It's like Django.
Yeah, exactly.
So A couple of things. Yes, I think that he was fired because um, he didn't improve the bench.
No.
He didn't. I mean, here's the thing: you can't improve your bench if you don't play players.
Mm-hmm.
And I agree with you. Some of the guys that he did have on the bench, he could have actually staggered their minutes.
Yeah.
He could have given Jalen Brunson. I mean, these dudes were playing LeBron like minutes when he was with Cleveland,
And they did that
like
every series. It's like they did
every
against the
series.
Celtics, the Pistons, and of course you saw it happen against the Pacers.
Exactly. And the Pacers are not a team that you want to play all your minutes. That
No.
listen, that name actually means something. Their name
Facts.
means something because the pace with which they play will wear you out. And so, bottom line is, he didn't play players enough. He has a reputation for doing that. He wore Jimmy Butler out. Pause. Um, I mean, every team that he has coached when he was with Chicago, same thing. Dudes were playing 38, 40 minutes a game. Zach Levine, honestly, I feel like Zach Levine's injuries happened more so under Tom Thibodeau because he played such heavy minutes. Jimmy Butler was injured quite a bit when he played in
In Minnesota,
Chicago.
yeah. And
Yeah, I
Chicago.
mean, I'm sorry, in Chicago and in
Yeah.
Minnesota, but more
Derrick
so in
Rose
Minnesota.
too.
Definitely Derrick Rose. I mean, now I don't blame Thibodeau for all that, but I
No,
certainly
no.
blame him for some of it.
Facts.
So I think that the fact that he didn't do that, they've got a lot, like you said, a 2 year window. And then at the end of the day, he didn't make adjustments.
No.
It's, you know, when the team was, struggling at certain points, went through lulls, and a lot of his teams do that. And part of the reason that happens is because dudes are tired.
Yep.
So he wasn't making he didn't have a good rotation. He was still, tinkering with the starting lineup at times. So for me, I'm not surprised. There
No.
was the head coach for Cleveland. Um,
Kenny Atkinson.
no, the he was the dude who,
David Blatt.
yes,
Yeah.
David Blatt. Same scenario. He took them to the finals
Yep.
and got fired.
Yep. Exactly.
Um, because the expectation was they were going to win.
And Dad, another
Um,
thing with Tom Thibodeau too is just like, what is he known for? It's not his offense, it's his defense. And it's like his team played no defense in the playoffs.
yeah,
They like dudes was literally putting up averaging close to 130 points a game against the Knicks. Like it's like,
yep,
bro, if you're known as a defensive mind and a defensive coach, and your team is just playing no defense, like Karl Anthony Towns is the prime example. And some of that, Tom Thibodeau can't control Karl Anthony Towns' effort and him being able to make the right reads on defense. So I'm not gonna put all that blame on him. But at the same token, it's like if you're known to be a defensive guy and your team sucks on defense, I mean, like the writing's on the wall, brother. I'm sorry.
well, for every action there's a reaction,
Facts.
and part of the reason they weren't playing good defense because dudes were tired.
Yep, and you're
So
right about that. Yeah, you're
you know
right.
what I
Dudes was
mean?
gas. Dudes was playing almost
Du-
50 minutes a game.
Exactly. Jokic. I mean, if the rumors were true and he complained about the fact that the team didn't play good defense, now granted, he should have kind of looked in the mirror first of all,
Facts.
but then secondly, he was like, "Well, I can't score, uh,
Pass,
a
rebound,
pass,
do everything.
rebound, and do everything and play defense. So help me out somewhere."
Yep.
And I honestly feel like that was part of what was going on with them. So very quickly to address who I think could be a good candidate, I definitely agree with Malone, for sure. Adrian Griffin, I
Yeah,
think,
he deserves
is
another
somebody.
job.
Yeah, that's a name in my opinion that he's familiar with the Eastern Conference, had the Bucks in a great position. I think he's young enough that he can relate to the players, and I do believe that he can help them take that next step, especially defensively.
Yep.
Um, and let's be honest, he is a dude who trusts his bench, and I think that he would actually be able to get the most out of his bench. I think they'll make some offseason moves to try to bolster their bench a little bit,
Yep.
but I think he would be a very good choice. Mike Malone is that's kind of the pick me um, choice, if you will.
Do you think
But
another name I thought about, Mike Budenholzer?
I could see that. I
I
could
don't.
see
I don't.
that.
I don't want to see that.
No, I'm saying I could see it, but
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah.
And I'm just telling you this. Knicks fans will not be happy
Oh
with
no,
that
they
at
won't.
all.
You might as well
Yeah,
just keep Tom Thibodeau if you're gonna do that, in my opinion.
exactly, exactly. So, speaking of, moving on, um, the finals are finally here.
Yeah.
Pacers versus Thunder, and I know that some fans will say, yeah, this is going to be boring, and I don't doubt, unless you're in Indiana or you're in Oklahoma, that the numbers are going to be low. Um, I don't think they're going to be the viewership is going to be as high as it's been in
No,
years past. But at the end of the day, I actually think that this is good for the league.
I completely agree.
Um, I really do. I mean, some new blood. I was talking to your mom the other day, and she said, "Well, who's in the finals?" And I said, "Oklahoma City and the Pacers." She said, "Do I know anybody on the Pacers?" And I said, "Halliburton." She was like, "Nope, don't know him." I said, She said, "What about the Thunder?" I said, "Shea Gilgeous Alexander." She was like, "Nope, don't know him either."
Who are these?
Exactly, Tommy Davidson.
Yeah.
Um, but I personally think it's good for the league because she was like, "Well, Braun didn't have enough help," and she started. And I said, Steph was hurt. I said, "But babe, these dudes are old.
Yep.
They are in basketball years. They're old,
Facts.
and the NBA has not done a good job of making the transition. This is almost forcing it to have to happen.
Yep.
So, it's gonna. We're obviously going to watch it because we love basketball. I think it's going to be exciting.
Yep.
Um, I think if it goes 6 games, the Pacers will be lucky.
Facts.
um, so I'm already giving you my prediction. I think it might go 6, but um, and I'd like for it to go 6
Yeah.
so that it could be competitive. But I won't be shocked if it only goes 5, and I'm picking the Thunder.
Yes, sir. No, I'm genuinely like wholeheartedly 1,000% agree. And it's funny we are talking about this the other day too. It's like I already had the Thunder winning in 5 games. To your point, it's like if it goes 6, I think either Halliburton or
That's
Pascal
icing on the
Siakam just
top.
have a master class. Exactly.
Hmm.
But here's what I'm gonna say though. To your point, and I completely agree. For people that genuinely love watching good basketball, I think this is gonna be silly. This matchup honestly kind of reminds me of you remember whenever the Bucks and the Suns played to get in the finals during COVID, and
Yep.
the viewership was low, but that was some of the best basketball I've ever seen. Like
Yep.
Giannis took his game to another level. Devin Booker played well. Like honestly, it's crazy to think that was only like 3-4 years ago, but people honestly forget that was actually NBA Finals, like the
Yeah.
Bucks and the Suns. But if you actually watch those games, they were all competitive. Like came down to the wire, and like pretty much 90% of those games. So I think
Hmm.
this is what I'm not saying that every game's gonna be a blowout. Like I don't see like even game ones on Thursday. I think it's gonna be a competitive slugfest until the very end of the game. It's just I think matchup wise, it's like who in the world is gonna be guarding Shea, and then it's gonna be a lot for Miles Turner to have to deal with Chet and Isaiah Hartenstein, and then I'm telling you now. Halliburton ain't gonna be able to just go crazy like that between Alex Caruso and Lou Dort, which is literally a linebacker playing basketball, by the way. But between those two brothers, putting him in solitary confinement, it's like I think the games are going to be competitive, but I think it's going to come down to the role players and just being candid with you. Shea Gilgeous Alexander is the MVP for a reason. Like this brother
Yep.
literally led the league in scoring. He was the NBA's most valuable player. This is honestly one of the youngest teams we've ever seen actually make the finals in the Oklahoma City Thunder. And now think about it. This brother has a chance to win a championship, the scoring title, MVP, and Finals MVP in one season. That's insane.
And I think it's
And I think
very
it's gonna
doable.
happen. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yes.
but here's what I will say going forward for the league. I think this is really good for the league because it's like, we've been saying this for the longest time. LeBron might play another year or two. KD might play 2 to 3 more seasons. Same with Steph. It's like the mantle has to be passed, and it's like I'm glad to see that we're getting some fresh matchups. In the actual NBA playoffs down. Of course, now the NBA Finals, but hopefully this is a sign of things to come. For the future of the league, because it's like if they keep trying to rely on like these old heads like Steph, LeBron, KD, it's like they gotta go ahead and pass the torch at some point. So
They do.
what better
It,
time than now?
yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, you're going to lose viewership because folks are tired
Exactly.
of seeing the same dudes over and over again.
Facts.
And you've got to build up the viewership for some of the new blood.
Yep.
And the way to do that is for there to actually be some new teams.
And we talk about it
And
all the time. The talent is there. Like
it is.
now, it's up to the NBA to actually market this talent. It's like
Yes.
even if the Pacers lose, I hope the NBA do everything in their power to market Tyrese Halliburton, Nimhart, Pascal Siakam, like these players that a lot of times get overlooked. It's no different than like during the regular season we talked about like the Cade Cunninghams of the world, the Jalen Greens, the Amen Thompsons. Like dudes were like honestly not getting talked about, and a lot of that was because the NBA just kept pushing the same media players and the same media narratives throughout the entire season. It's like they have no choice but to switch it up now, which is a good
Yep.
thing.
It's being forced.
Yep.
Agreed.
Yes, sir.
So shifting gears, still in the NBA though, because everybody knows that we are Lakers fans. There are lots of discussions around who the Lakers are going to go get, who the Lakers should go get. I'm going to go ahead and say it and put it on record. I'm still, as I've always been, I'm not confident in what Rob Pelinka can and or will do. So I won't be shocked if yet again it's a lackluster off season. Bottom line is we got Luca, great, but that was a gift. It wasn't
Facts.
because he did anything special. He just didn't. And so I know that we're going to need a big. I know we need a wing player. Jameson, I know you've been following very closely,
Oh yeah.
some of the names that are out there. So I'm going to give you the floor.
Oh sure. No, I'll say there's three things that I want the Lakers to accomplish this offseason. And one people might not like, but I'm telling you it's going to be beneficial long term. The first one is clearly you have to go get a center. And the two names, it's got to be one of these two. Well, one of these three. The first one I've been hearing mainly now is Nicholas Claxton. And of course,
Nope.
I'll be honest, we've talked about it. I'd rather have Gafford, but for the right price, I do think with the way Luka is really good, with the basketball, it's like it can be a similar situation to how he was with Derek Lively. It's like Nicholas Claxton is really good, very athletic, really good around the basket, great shot blocker. He doesn't really have a lot of offensive game. Like he's not making a mid-range pull-up like Anthony Davis was, or he's not really able to stretch the floor. But he is the type of big that will honestly complement Luka Doncic well, and it'll take both of their games to just another level. Number two, I mean, I kind of already just said it was Daniel Gafford. And then the third one, in a perfect world, I mean, he's been rumored for the Lakers for the last 2-3 years, is Walker Kessler. I mean, if I really had the choice out of all three, if I had to rank, it would be Kessler first, Gafford second, and Nicholas Claxton, third. It sounds like the Mito from all the reports I've been hearing, like, what's his name, Bobby Marks. I listen to him a lot. Same with Brian Windhorst. It's like Nicholas Claxton seems to be like their clear cut target, either him or Gafford. So we'll see what happens. And then number two, this is gonna be the one that might rub people the wrong way. You need to go and trade Austin Reeves. I'm sorry. I even have Austin Reeves jersey. I love that brother. Shout out AR-15, man. But here's
His
my
agent,
thing.
his
Here's my
agent
thing.
is
Yeah.
not helping the situation right now.
He's
To be
not.
honest with you.
And then on top of that, I'm just like, we just gotta take a step back. It's like in the playoffs, Austin Reeves didn't do much to help our team. Like whenever Luka didn't have it going, whenever LeBron didn't have it going, he also didn't have it going. It's like when we needed him to step up this year in the playoffs, don't get me wrong. He had some moments and he had a great regular season, but it's like if you're about to demand $30 to $35 million a year, after this upcoming season, and it's like and that's the level of production that we're gonna get come playoff time, you gotta go. I'm sorry, because what the Lakers can't afford to do is try to, get him on like a hometown discount or play around and then he just walk for nothing, next offseason. We can't afford for that to happen. It's like, while Austin Reeves has really good trade value around the league right now is the time to go and make a move. Like, why not package him, Dalton Connect, and Rui Hachimura in the first round pick if you have to, and go get Walker Kessler or somebody that you can really build around Luka for the future. I've even thrown the name out there too. I'm like, if other teams, because I'm telling you now, they've already been talking about Shams, Brian Windhorst, everybody. This might be the craziest offseason we've ever seen in NBA history. So I'm like, if dudes are just getting moved around like,
Chess pieces.
exactly, getting moved
Like
around like
checkers.
chess pieces, exactly, like checker pieces, it's like, why not go after a Jaylen Brown? Why not go after somebody that you can, because I've been saying this for the longest. LeBron's only going to play another year or two, tops. So it's
maybe
like,
maybe one.
exactly.
Next year maybe his
So
last.
think about it. You need to go and start building what are the Lakers going to look like post LeBron? You don't need to wait until he retires to answer that question. It's like
Because
make the
then you're going to
necessary
put
moves.
yourself 4 years behind.
Exactly. And then what you also don't want to risk is Luka is not under contract, brother.
True.
We hopefully we can go ahead and sign him to at least a maybe 3-year deal this offseason. But I'm like, think about it. 3 years from now, Luka could literally have a player option, enter free agency, and just leave. And it'd be a failed experiment by Rob Pelinka. So it's like they need to make the necessary moves to not only try to compete now, but also go and set up Luka and the Lakers to be solid and really good in the future. So I'm like, if you can get a quality big, like Nicholas Claxton, Gafford, and you don't go all in on a superstar, you better go out there and try to get like a Nas Reed or the guy I told you I've been wanting for the longest, is Nickeil Alexander-Walker. I feel like he would be a perfect type of player. Him or either Andrew Wiggins would be a perfect type of player to try to complement with Luka and LeBron this season and for the future. So, I think if the Lakers can do that, and then also too, Rob Pelinka has to get it right this year with the mid-level exception. It's like, in the past he signed Gabe Vincent. That's been honestly bad ball. With all due respect, Taurean Prince, bad ball. I mean, he was good in the regular season, but bad ball. Just being candid with you, it's like you had Malik Monk, but then you wouldn't pay him enough, and look what's happened now with the Kings. The brother was 6th man of the year. So it's like,
Then,
go ahead.
I was just going to say, when you were talking about Austin Reeves, because you were naming players, bad contracts
Yeah,
or
yes,
the
sir.
fact that you didn't follow up. Austin Reeves, I know he's not the same because he's obviously better than Caruso was. But imagine if we had a Caruso on the squad now.
I'm telling you, I hate it to this day, man. I love me some
Yes.
Alex Caruso. Pause on that too, but that brother's special. You see what he's been able to do for the Thunder and what he did for the Bulls.
Right. Exactly. So I just don't have a lot of faith in Rob Pelinka. I'm just going to be real with you.
Me either.
I mean, he got promoted because Nico Harris gifted him
Facts.
Luka.
But this is the most important offseason he's going to have throughout his entire career as a GM and head of basketball operations. Like, you better get it done because technically right now LeBron ain't even re-signed. I'm just being honest with you. It's like he has some work. He has some work to do. I mean, everybody's assuming LeBron ain't going nowhere, which I don't think LeBron is. But I'm like, brother, you have some work to do because looking at our roster, Dad, we've talked about it. If we had a center and another solid wing piece, or here's the third thing I'm gonna quickly throw in there, you got to get a good backup point guard. So if you have to use the mid-level exception on a guy like, I keep throwing this name around and it ticks me off. We didn't go get him this past offseason, but look at what Chris Dunn did for the Clippers this year, defensively and off the bench. Or look what Dennis Schroeder did for the Pistons.
I was getting ready to say Dennis Schroeder.
And what sucks is
And
some of
we've
these
had
players
to
we
do-
named, we've had them.
Yes, we had to do twice,
Come on,
basically,
bro.
or had the opportunity
It's
to
a
have them
bad
twice.
ball.
It's terrible. So, if history is a teacher, I don't
have a lot of faith.
in Rob Pelinka.
Me
I
either.
just don't. So, and I really don't have a lot to add about that because I just don't trust that cat.
Me
I
either.
just don't. So I'm hopeful. Claxton, I'm still on the fence about that. I think it'll be an upgrade, but I don't know.
But you then
We'll
also
have
got to
to
get a
see.
backup big. So I'm like,
Right.
if you need to use the mid-level exception on Steven Adams or Clint Capella, you got to make the right moves, bro. Because I said it this year. If we would have had a center and another solid big, we would have been in the Western Conference Finals. Now, don't get me wrong. We would have got ran out the gym by the Thunder.
For sure.
Like, we would have got absolutely flooded. But think about it. If we would have beat Minnesota, we beat Golden State, even with Steph healthy. They just don't match up well against us. And then
Agreed.
at least against the Thunder, we would have gotten a game or two just simply because of Luka. I mean, look what he did last year to the Thunder. So, and you know how LeBron gets playoff time. But I'm like, so this team is not that far off. It's like we were the 4th seed in the West for a reason. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, you can make moves that'll not only set you up to win now, but set you up for the future as well, post LeBron. But I'll leave it at that.
Yeah. I have no faith. we do not believe in Pelinka. I just don't. I'm sorry that I'm sounding so pessimistic. I just don't.
It's fair though.
So
It's fair.
yeah. So, all right. Well, we're gonna close out this week's episode with moving the needle. Jameson, what is your moving the needle this week?
I'm going to say my moving the needle is Nafisa Collier and the Minnesota Lynx. They've just been on an absolute tear. I know we talked about her last weekend. Finally, the odds makers have gotten it right. She is now the clear-cut favorite to win MVP. I'm like, what took you so long?
She's always been.
Yeah, exactly. In our eyes, it's like, what's taking so long? But Also, too, I gotta give a huge shout out to the WNBA. It's like this their first year doing the Commissioner's Cup, similar to like the in season tournament that the NBA does. It's been really fun basketball to watch, and there's actually gonna be 2 games tonight on ESPN, so I'm gonna definitely be tuned in. But I'm really excited for once the actual NBA Finals in, we'll be able to start talking more about the WNBA. But the season's been off to a great start so far, in my opinion.
Excellent.
Mm-hmm.
All right, my moving the needle. It's one name, Van Allen Lubin. That's what we doing.
Buster.
That's what we doing. So you come out and say, I'm not transferring. I'm only putting my name out there because of some NCAA regulations that I have to adhere to. And then you decide that you're going to transfer to an in-state rival, the North Carolina State Wolfpack. Good luck with that. Good luck with that.
Yep.
The only thing I'm going to say, you know, Godspeed, but seems real sketchy. And, he's fortunate because this is the first time in 100 years that Carolina will not host NC State in Chapel Hill.
Yep.
So, boy, did he, he got real lucky. So we'll end up, I guess, playing NC State at NC State. But
Nah, he
I just
lucky
don't.
though. It would have sounded like
No,
a Boston Tea Party in Chapel Hill.
I'm telling you, man, it was going to be insanity when he walked up in that building. So I don't understand it. I'm not really sure, especially this. This is the last thing that I'll say about it because initially it really bothered me, but I've moved on now.
Yeah.
Um, he only has 1 year of eligibility left. So you were already in Chapel Hill. This would have been your second year within that system and in the program. And you were going to get, like very, very good minutes. I'm talking
Facts.
about impact minutes. Um, you know, some people think, oh, if he plays 30 minutes a game, if somebody plays 30, you can have 19 minutes a game that are very impactful and lead to winning. And that's, I think, what he would have had. Backup center, there could have been some combinations based on who we played that he actually started. You just don't know.
Yep.
You were in a system that you now would have a second year of familiarity with. You go to NC State and you're learning a new system and you only have 1 year of eligibility. So, Godspeed. And you're very, very fortunate that Carolina won't be hosting NC State this year for the first time in 100 years. It'll be interesting to see.
Yep.
So, that's my moving the needle. And that's actually going to wrap this week's episode. We appreciate everybody listening. We'll see you next week. Same bat channel, same bat time.